Teachers, what's the worst thing a kid brought for show and tell? The teacher across the hall from me had a student who brought what he thought was a lucky rabbit foot to show to the class and excitedly announced he had enough for everyone in the class. The rabbit foot was a tampon. This is fucking hilarious. I like to think he saw the whole box of tampons and was like, wow, I'm gonna be so lucky. My brother found a scorpion at our house and captured it to bring for show and tell. The scorpion got out somehow and the teacher had everyone on high alert to look for it and capture it. Several children returned to the teacher having found the scorpion. That was the day we found out our school was infested with scorpions. I'm thinking this had to be Arizona. I brought 2 knives. My dad is from a region in France where they make famous knives, La Guiole, and I own 2 of them, one made of horn and one was bright orange. It didn't cross my mind it could be a problem, but they called my parents, who weren't mad at me. My dad tells a story about when he brought his dad's bird hunting shotgun and ammo to school for show and tell. It was rather uneventful. My grandpa walked out to the bus with him and told the bus driver that he was taking it in for show and tell. Dad got to school, put the gun in his locker, and went and got it when it was time for show and tell. He put it back in his locker after the presentation, then took it home on the bus. Very different times. When I was in 5th grade and going to school in AS, this girl in our class brought in a glass jar with a tarantula and a black widow. No clue how she caught both in one day or why. Within an hour the tarantula was dead and upside down in the jar. Same day there was a fire drill and yep, someone knocked it off her desk and the jar broke, releasing the black widow. We never found it, but the teacher made sure to stomp the dead tarantula just in case. Same thing happened with our glass fire ant farm in 2nd grade. Now that I think about it, I don't know why people kept bringing this shit into school or why our teachers let them. And now that I'm thinking about it, I brought a dead bat in a Ziploc that I found in my yard once. Again, no clue why. My wife is a teacher in a major US city. One of her grade 4 students brought in a packet of his mom's cocaine to show the class during Drug Awareness Week. He got some visits from the principals and school counselor, maybe the men in blue, and the teachers get a great end of year party. Not a teacher, but there was a girl in my brother's year whose dad owned a junk/salvage place. Girl brings in an old thermometer. Okay, cool, whatever. She then goes, and then this is the most fun part, and proceeds to smash the thermometer on the desk and play with the mercury. IDK how that got resolved, but I do know that by the time I got to 1st grade, we no longer had show and tell. Playing with mercury is a lot of fun. You shouldn't do it, but it is. It's real pretty and moves in cool ways. I'm old, we didn't know better. I'm not a teacher, but as an elementary school kid, not anymore lol, we were supposed to bring toy animals from home and tell why we picked or like that animal. Most kids brought stuffed animals or action figures, but this one madland of a girl brought a real life bearded dragon. She brought it in a plastic bag and just whipped it out and flopped it on the table when it was her turn. The teacher, female and usually very chill, freaked out and called her parents to come get the beast. A few minutes later her dad, Russian, steps into the room and you could see in his face that he didn't understand what the problem was with the bearded dragon. The teacher freaked out again and talked to him how it could have gone on a rampage and could have bitten someone and how it's animal cruelty to transport a live animal in a regular one-time use plastic bag. The dad realized that she was super scared and overreacting, so he just said excuse me madam with a thick Russian accent, took the bag and walked out. The whole time his face didn't show any emotion at all, as if that type of stuff happens to him all day. The girl was the hero of the day and she somehow didn't get into any trouble back or it actually was her dad's idea. A lamb's tail. Apparently they went to a farm which let visitors keep them as souvenirs. Who knew that removing tails was a thing? Turns out it was a mistake to postpone show and tell for a couple of days while hidden in a locker. The tail marinated in the July heat. I brought a rattlesnake to school in a mason jar that my father killed directly by our front door. I was 6. Took to show my class. After the teacher let me show everyone and we discussed it, she stuck it in closet so we would all calm back down. Completely forgotten about, and we had a 3-day weekend. We had to have class in the gymnasium for 3 days. Had a kid aged 6 to 7 who had a lot going on, but part of it was that he was a compulsive liar with absolutely no sense of when a lie was so poorly constructed that everyone would know. Every single day he would say he had something for show and tell. Most days we didn't have time for his show and tell, but every so often we kind of had to let him have a go. He'd stand up, ready to do his show and tell, then wander over to my desk, browse for a minute, pick up the most random crap, a post-it note, a sharpener. Once it was the custom well done stamp that actually had my name on it, and then say some poorly constructed story about how he found it in Africa when he went there 40 yesterday with his auntie or some such. He'd get really upset if he realized nobody believed him, though even at that age, most of the kids had the tact or gullibility to just smile and nod. There was a fella I got to know after moving to a new city and school who lied like this, except he was in 9th grade. Claimed his dad was in the CIA and dropped him off via helicopter at school every so often. He actually walked to school every day. If you asked him about his home life, he'd always say something like it's top secret info, can't talk about it. I eventually found out that his dad went AWOL after he was born and his mom died when he was in 3rd grade. Afterward, he got bounced around foster homes. He was genuinely a nice guy beneath it all, and he was naturally funny without the crazy lies. He never said anything mean about anyone or lied about anyone except his own self. I think he did it to make his own life appear better than what it actually was. Not bad, not normal, but extraordinarily awesome. He moved the next year, I presume, to another foster family. I can only hope he found legit happiness. I'm a preschool teacher in a state with legal weed. One of my students brought in a plastic tube the local dispensary uses for pre-rolled joints. He said he found it in his parents' room, and he brought it because he liked the popping sound it made when he opened it. In his defense, it does make a satisfying popping noise. When I was in 6th grade, I took a belly dancing bralette thing in that my brother sent me from his deployment. We were studying the Middle East, and I had something from there. I thought it was cool. I remember my teacher gulping, eyes bulging, asking, "Just that? That's all they wear?" And me saying, "Yeah, I guess so." Anyways, it turns out he sent me his girlfriend's present and his girlfriend got my camel book. But I was very popular with the 6th grade boys for a little while. In my mind, I imagine she's an early years teacher and is also popular with 6th grade boys courtesy of the camel book her boyfriend mailed her. Not a teacher, but when I was in 5th grade, my friend brought a metal hip replacement piece from a human body. A human body that her father had cremated and kept. It was for a "what would you like to be when you grow up" sort of show and tell. She wanted to be a mortician like her dad. What's worse is that she allowed for this piece to be passed around the class before telling everyone, including the teacher, what it was. Chaos ensued afterwards. That's hilarious and awesome, haha. My dad is a physical therapist and has the knee replacement hardware from a patient that had several. He had to dissolve the bone/cement off of it from when he got it. I taught 5th grade in a school with really rich kids and really low income kids bustin'. One of the low income kids brought a coconut for her show and tell about Trinidad, where her dad was from. She cracked it open. It was completely rotten inside and smelled awful. I was so worried about the kid being embarrassed, but then one of the rich kids, who was also of a pretty low intellect, looked at it with wide eyes and said it's like the earth, the core, the mantle and the crust. Which is something I think he had never really understood before. So it actually turned out pretty well. This story turned out way more wholesome than I expected. Not a teacher, but when my son was in preschool, he brought me in for show and tell a couple of months after brain surgery. I had a shaved head, gnarly scar, and a crazy eye. He made sure I showed everyone up close my crazy eye. It was funny to me and made me happy. He had a hard time seeing me like that in the beginning. AWW, that's so sweet. Healthy wishes. My dad had a great show and tell story. He caught a big gardener snake. It was about 3 feet long from his telling, and was telling all his friends at school about it. The teacher told him to stop lying, and he told her he wasn't lying. She then said, "Fine, bring it in." My dad packed up this gardener snake in a big old jar, but broke it on the way to school. He walks into class with this big snake in his hands. The teacher freaks out, jumps on her desk, and is terrified of it. She sends him to the principal office. The principal was also a woman, who wouldn't let him in cause he was holding a big gardener snake. The principal called his mother, who simply responded with, "Why did the teacher want him to bring it?" And then he ended up getting the day off school and didn't get in any other trouble from it. Ugh. Hate teachers like those. All arrogant like bring it, and assuming the kid is lying for no reason other than their own assumption and stupidity. Then they get mad when the kid was telling the truth all along. In my school, some kid brought in his collection of laundry rocks, which were crumpled up pieces of paper that he put in his pockets, and when his mom did the laundry they would turn hard like rocks. He said he did it by accident once, liked it, and started deliberately putting crumpled paper in his pockets to make more. I imagine a lot of kids in your class made their own laundry rocks after that, lol. When I was a newborn baby, my sister convinced my mom to bring me to her 3rd grade show and tell, and I buffed all over her. My brother made my mom bring me for show and tell after I was born. He then proceeded to tell the entire class that he helped her dig me up from a cabbage patch. The kids all believed him, and the teacher was supposedly trying her hardest to not break out in hysterical laughter. Yes, I'm a 53 years old Cabbage Patch Kid.